The date is Tuesday, February 9. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Jamaica's fisherfolk and farmers now have the opportunity to benefit from group health and life insurance coverage. Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries Floyd Green took to his Facebook account to announce Sagicor's launch of its insurance program for farmers and fisherfolk, the first of its kind in Jamaica. The program, dubbed AgriCare, becomes effective March 1. 220,000 registered farmers and 26,000 registered fishers are eligible for the package of benefits. Residents in the areas surrounding the Green Bay Range in St. Catherine are being warned to secure their livestock. This as the Jamaica Defense Force, JTTA, will be conducting live firing exercises at the Green Bay Range. A statement from the JTF explains that there is no need to be alarmed by the presence of soldiers during this exercise. The statement also reads that in the event of unexploded ordnances or paraphernalia are found, citizens are to report it to the JDF headquarters at telephone number 876-960-8776. After being stalled for 2 weeks, work resumed on Monday on a section of the $188 million MAYPEN to Williamsfield leg of the east-west corridor of Highway 2000. The work had been halted by protesting residents of Redbury who were up in arms over the dust and noise nuisances. The residents met with their political representatives last week and aired their grouses. The project is slated to be completed next year, October. It's being spearheaded by the contractor for the highway construction, China Harbour Engineering Company. Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett has revealed that steps are currently being taken to reset the tourism sector to ensure it benefits even more Jamaicans and fuels greater economic growth whenever the sector rebounds from the impact of COVID-19. Mr. Bartlett adds that the Ministry of Tourism has embarked upon a series of consultations with key stakeholders aimed at minimizing the opportunity to reorganize the local tourism industry.
In a press release, Mr. Bartlett outlined that the Tourism Ministry is currently in dialogue with JAMPRO regarding the initiative, adding that he has also had discussions with his colleague minister with our portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Aubin Hill. Mr. Bartlett noted that the discussions are intended to, quote, look at how we start that whole arrangement. First of all, to have an analysis of the supply side and then the demand side, end quote. Mr. Bartlett's disclosure of the latest tourism initiative was made following an extensive tour of the 350-year-old Worthy Park estate. It has developed a tour that adds to Destination Jamaica's product offering and has been appealing to both locals and visitors. For the news on PBCJ, I'm Carol Francis.
Here now are the COVID-19 figures for Monday, February 8, as released by the Health and Wellness Ministry. On Monday, February 8, the country recorded its highest daily COVID-19 case count so far. 403 cases were recorded, catapulting the tally to 17,701. In the parish breakdown, Manchester posted the highest number with 81 cases. St. James has 69, and Kingston and St. Andrew has 66. There is 54 for St. Catherine, 26 for St. Elizabeth, and 21 for Hanover. Both Clarendon and Trelawney registered 17 cases, while 15 cases were found in Westmoreland and 14 in St. Anne. 12 were recorded in St. Anne. 10 were recorded for St. Thomas. Portland has 1 case. An 84-year-old man from Kingston and St. Andrew is the latest person to succumb to the pandemic. To date, 359 persons have lost their lives. On the other hand, 44 recoveries were reported. Overall, 12,362 recoveries have been recorded. 156 persons are now hospitalized. 22 are moderately ill. 13 are critical. The increase in daily number of COVID-19 cases has heightened concerns about its implication on face-to-face classes. Both the National Parent Association and the Jamaica Teachers Association have registered their concerns. The JTTA wants a halt to face-to-face classes. The association's president, Jasford Gabriel, in a statement to the press, says some students are being caught up in the general indiscipline of the society's approach to the pandemic. He's suggesting the resuscitation of purely online classes. Managing Director of the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, Amar Sweeney, says the investment in education accounts for the majority of the resources deployed through the Basic Needs Trust Fund, the BNTF. The program is financed by the Caribbean Development Bank, the CDB. It covers 5 target areas: education and human resource development, access to drainage, water and sanitization systems, health and livelihood enhancement. Speaking at a recent JIS think tank, Mr. Sweeney explains that the organization has, over the last 20 years, sought to focus on access to social amenities like roads and water. However, education has been key.
We've also expanded into a number of social services, and our scholarship, our tertiary scholarships program has been tremendously successful, and the success stories of the individuals who have benefited is just heartwarming. We've really just been able, I think, to cover a wide area of specific vulnerabilities that normally, I call them the little gaps and the crevices where support is not normally there, and that's been a hallmark of this program.
He says JSIF also forms a partnership with institutions to sustain the initial support.
One of the things we do with this program, we never really just go in as JSIF alone. Okay, we also have to build capacity of the person who is going to be supporting the program. So if we were to give scholarships to MICO students, for example, we don't just make a call to MICO and say, hey, give us some students. We actually engage the department that normally deals with student assistance, and we would ensure that they have the sort of systems in place to ensure that they can track the students, ensure their success, so that even after the resources have left, there's some capacity there to continue on.
According to Mr. Sweeney, under the portfolio of education, where more than 50% of the projects have gone, about 58% of that total resources received are used to construct classroom spaces. The market never sleeps. And now for a look at the latest ebbs and flow of the financial marketplace, we join our business report host, Gabriel Thompson.
In Monday's trading session, the JSE combined index advanced by 732 points to close at under 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 91 stocks, of which 51 advanced, 28 declined, and 12 traded firm. The junior market index advanced by 17 points to close at under 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for AMG Packaging and Paper Company, Barita Investments Limited, and BERGER Paints Jamaica. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica, CAC 2000 9.5% preference shares, and Caribbean Cement Company Limited. Trading firm were 1834 Investments Limited, Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited, and CARRERAS Limited. Darrimon Trading Company Limited was the volume leader with 5.6 million units, followed by Pulse Investments Limited with 4.9 million units, and Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with 2.6 million units. Now for the foreign exchange. The US dollar on Monday, February 8, ended trading at $149.48. The Canadian dollar sold for an average $118.23. The pound sterling traded for $207.37, and the euro ended trading at $183.62. Oil prices scored their 7th straight session of gains for both benchmark contracts on Tuesday, hitting their highest since late January 2020 as supply cuts by major producers and optimism over a recovery in fuel demand support energy markets. Top exporter Saudi Arabia is squeezing supply in February and March on top of cuts by producers in the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and their allies, promoting forecasts of a supply deficit this year. Brent crude futures gained 41 cents to $60.97 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose 28 cents to $58.25 a barrel. And that's it for this edition of the Business Report on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson.
In regional news, Colombia will temporarily normalize the status of almost 1 million undocumented Venezuelan migrants. This was disclosed by President Ivan Duque on Monday during a visit to the UN Refugee Agency. Some 56%, around 950,000 of the 1.7 million Venezuelans to arrive in Colombia, fleeing economic and political crisis in their homeland, are undocumented and will benefit from the measure. The migrants will benefit from a 10-year protection, giving them time to apply for a residence visa if they wish to stay in that country. And in Guyana, the total number of coronavirus cases recorded in the country has jumped to more than 8,000 as 41 new cases were recorded as of midnight on Sunday. Here's more in this report.
The Ministry of Health also revealed today that the country's death toll climbed to 181, with the passing of a 74-year-old man from Region 4. Guyana currently has 858 active cases of COVID-19. More than 500 of those active cases are in Region 4. In his COVID-19 update today, the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, said the village of Waramadang in Region 7 is currently on its radar, as the small indigenous village has more than 70 active cases of the virus.
Waramadang remain a place of interest for us. And over the weekend, we did additional testing there. And unfortunately, we have a number of additional cases. So we have a doctor on site that has been working with the community. We had sent in another medical team from Georgetown to assist. That team initially assisted in Waramadang, but then moved on to the other villages in the Upper Mazaruni. So in the light of seeing some new cases over the weekend, we are going to bring back that team into Waramadang and probably see what additional measures we can put in place.
In his COVID-19 update today, the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, said the village of Waramadang in Region 7 is currently on his ministry's radar, as the small indigenous village has more than 70 active cases of the virus.
It's an active discussion. We'll have to, lockdown would mean that you have to restrict everything going in and out of the village and so forth. And whether that's logistically possible is something we have to discuss with the village leadership. So we'll have that discussion. In fact, some of those types of discussions have been initiated, but there's no conclusions yet.
The health minister said while no decision has been taken to impose a lockdown on the village, the ministry is monitoring the situation. A doctor has since been posted in the community, and additional contact tracing and testing are to be carried out in the coming days.
In St. Lucia, frontline workers are atop the government's priority list to get the first doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. Authorities say they expect the first shipment of the vaccines by the end of February. St. Lucia's AstraZeneca vaccine allocation through the COVAX facility will be enough to immunize up to 37,000 people against the coronavirus.
It has saved lives, and it will continue to save life.
The development of various COVID-19 vaccines in the last year has inspired hope and the possibility of a return to normal life before the pandemic. About 74,000 doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca manufactured COVID-19 vaccine could set St. Lucia on that path to pre-pandemic normalcy. Health authorities plan to ration St. Lucia's vaccine allocation among two priority groups as part of a three-phased rollout strategy set to begin in March. Frontline workers, including doctors, nurses, and first responders, will get the first jabs of the AstraZeneca vaccine.
Phase 1 divided into 1A and 1B, where 1A looks at healthcare workers or the frontline workers who are in direct contact with or likely to develop COVID-19 by nature of their job.
Next on the immunization list are seniors 65 and older and persons with non-communicable diseases. The COVID-19 virus is said to worsen already compromised immune systems, which can lead to death. Although COVID-19 vaccination will be voluntary, the health ministry is aware of increasing public skepticism. A recent survey indicates more than 50% of the population would refuse the vaccine. Reports of adverse and even fatal reactions to COVID-19 vaccines drive some of that uncertainty.
If in case one of those adverse events were to occur, our wellness centers are equipped with the necessary antidotes and the necessary equipments and to manage any adverse events.
St. Lucia's 74,000 AstraZeneca vaccine doses procured by the COVAX facility will be free to the public. It's enough to inoculate roughly 37,000 people aged 16 and older. With a population of about 182,000, health experts estimate another 200,000 jabs is still needed to get herd immunity. Global demand for COVID-19 vaccines among developing countries like St. Lucia is high. Money for enough doses to cover enough of the population is in short supply. Authorities are exploring options to secure more jabs for St. Lucia.
So you're looking at 150,000, 300,000 doses to vaccinate that population. Multiply by 10.55, you recognize we're looking at some $3-something million US. It's very costly.
The timeline for government's phased rollout of the limited vaccine supply extends to up to 8 months. Phases 2 and 3 will cover ancillary public health workers and other prioritized groups in the public service. Special consideration will be given to assisted living facilities. The public is, however, encouraged to register for COVID-19 vaccination through community wellness centers. Rihani Isidore, NBC Prime.
The Bahamas Petroleum Company has come up short in its quest for oil in the island's waters. The company announced early Monday that its exploratory well in Bahamian waters failed to produce any oil in any commercial quantity. Jasmine Brown reports.
Reaction to BPC's announcement that they would be abandoning their exploratory oil well was met with elation from Darville, who says Mother Nature answered their prayers.
It was something that we did not awaken to realize this morning, that we had been helped significantly by Mother Earth herself.
Darville could not hold back his happiness as he spoke to our news team via Zoom and from the shoreline of a beach in Grand Bahama.
I cannot even express how happy I am this morning, and that's why I came out here, next to the ocean, to show you the pristine, if you could see it out there, the pristine beauty and the purity of Mother Earth's ocean.
Darville was reacting to BPC's announcement that its exploratory well in Grand Bahama waters failed to produce oil in any commercial quantity. In a statement, BPC said drilling has ceased and the well will be permanently plugged and abandoned. The conclusion of the exploratory drilling comes nearly 2 months after the Perseverance No. 1 well was spud. BPC CEO Simon Potter said in the statement, "I am proud to say that after many years of diligent effort, we did what we said we would do. BPC drilled the Perseverance No. 1 well safely and without incident. This was the very specific objective of the well, not a scientific or geological experiment, but to seek hydrocarbons in commercial quantities." Perseverance No. 1 is located 90 miles west of Andros. BPC was targeting oil resources of 0.77 billion barrels with an upside of 1.44 billion barrels. BPC said over the coming weeks, it will be undertaking a detailed review of the technical data and results from the drilling of the Perseverance #1 well. These results will be presented to the government of the Bahamas in accordance with the company's license obligations, according to the statement. Darville said at this point they do not have any intentions of abandoning their legal plans.
We want to make sure we get at the bottom of all of these particular procedures that were initiated to bring about the eventual, even the exercise of exploration in our waters. It was something that the Bahamian people as a whole were not cognizant of, and particularly the over 15 environmental strong bodies of people whose only objective is to preserve our land and sea.
Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
In sports, we're out the blocks with athletics. In a country known for producing some of the world's best sprinters, Veronica Campbell-Brown stands out. She made a return to the track last Saturday, where she stopped the clock at 7.43 seconds to grab second in the 60 meters at the East Coast Invitational at Virginia Beach Sports Complex. 17-year-old American teenager Tamari Davis won in a time of 7.29 seconds. Campbell-Brown had paused her track career to have her first child, Aviana Amor, with her husband, Amar Brown. She said her training is progressing well and hopes to make the Jamaican team to the Tokyo Olympic Games this year. And staying with athletics, as the sport has lost one of its stalwarts, Jamaican Olympian Leslie Laing died on Sunday at the age of 95. Laing was part of Jamaica's Golden Quartet at the 1952 Summer Olympics in Helsinki. He ran the second leg for the 4x400 meters relay team, which won the gold medal in that race. In 2005, he was inducted into the Central American and Caribbean Confederation Hall of Fame. Les Laing was part of the famous 4x400 meters relay team that won that gold medal in the Olympic Games in Helsinki, setting a new Olympic and world record. In paying tribute, Sports Minister Olivia Grange hailed Laing as a true Jamaican sports hero. She says, quote, Les Laing, Arthur Wint, Herb McKinley and George Roden showed us all what we could achieve when they smashed a 20-year-old world record to win the 4x400 meters in Helsinki. I'm sad at Les Laing's passing, but I'm grateful for his long life and his contributions to Jamaica. End quote. In other news, the Jamaica Table Tennis Association has a new president. Andrew Liu was elected unopposed at the JTTA's annual general meeting at the National Arena last Saturday. The new executive committee members will serve for 2 years as they are President Andrew Liu, Vice President Wayne Tai, Second Vice President Danville Walker, General Secretary Karen Lim, Assistant General Secretary Sean Wallace, and Treasurer Colette Palmer. Liu, in his acceptance speech to the delegates, thanked the clubs for having confidence in him, and he pledged that he would do everything in his power to restore the sport of table tennis. And with that, we're out of here. On behalf of our hard-working production team, thanks for making it PBCJ. Pleasant viewing.